Honorable Chief Minister, Srimati Vasundhara Raje ji, Honorable Industry Minister Gajendra Singh ji, Chief Secretary Shri Rajan ji, Mrs. Venu Gupta, Mr. Agarwal, and friends. Ever since I came to know of this festival, of this function, I have been overwhelmed. As Mr. Rajan said, and if I can slightly rephrase it, this 200 million or 20 crore young boys and girls which will come into the workforce in the next 10 years is a huge advantage which this country has. I think that's, if I was to name one of the strengths of India, I would name that as one of the major strengths. But it has to be harnessed. It has to be put to the right use. We all know the effort both at the center level as well as your very dynamic Chief Minister has put into skill development. But I think that has now to be taken to the role of entrepreneurship. I recently had a meeting in the PMO, and before that I had sought guidance from the Honorable Chief Minister earlier. And to give you a background, I am not standing here today as somebody who ran Mahindra and Mahindra for 20 years. These are Mahindra Holidays and Mahindra World City are some of my babies. There are many babies that I gave birth to. When I joined the board of Mahindra and Mahindra, we used to only make engineering goods, automobiles and tractors. And we used to employ 40,000 people. When I stepped down from my executive function, we used to employ 225,000 people. And I think that's the need of today. I was telling Madam that these 200 million jobs are not going to come from large industries. Large industries will be catalysts, but the jobs will have to be created by all my young friends sitting here and some of the good work that I saw when I was outside. Please don't be under the impression that there is only a particular city in the country which can be the innovation hub. If you look at historically, where did the first breed of entrepreneurs come from? And for that you have to go to Calcutta, which used to be the business capital of India in the pre-independence days. It was the Birlas, the Bajorias, the Singhanias, it was people who all came from this part of the world. I can tell you, having worked in this state for nearly 10 years now, the dynamic leadership of the Chief Minister is something which I don't want to take away from, because I know how she first got us to put up Mahindra World City, and now she's working on some other major projects of the group here, which we will be happy to associate. But also for young entrepreneurs who have to deal with the administration and government officers, I can tell you that this state has the best officers that I have seen all over the country. People are approachable, people take decisions, because Madam has empowered them to take decisions. So if I go to Mr. Rajan or Mrs. Gupta or Mr. Abhay Kumar sitting here with a problem, I don't have to go back to the Chief Minister. And you, as young entrepreneurs, do not have that access which large companies have. The best part is when you have a good-meaning, well-meaning proposal which is good for the state and good for the industry, you will get support and you will get it quickly. I am here as somebody who has had the fortune of starting many companies in Mahindra, including Tech Mahindra, Mahindra Holidays, Mahindra World City. I'll give you an example of Mahindra Holidays. We started it with 8 crores of rupees, and at the peak of the market, we had a market cap of 6,000 crores. 8 crore से वो company शुरू करी थी. So the advantage you young boys and girls have, and Mr. Rajan alluded to it, I am going to be announcing, I have actually now moved up in my life to what I call my second innings of my life, where I'm going to work towards creating employment. And my first pilot is going to be launched in this state. In fact, as walking through today, I have identified 3 companies that I'm going to support. And I'm not here to tell you about myself. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do mentoring. I picked up Rajasthan for 3 reasons. A, it is, entrepreneurship is in the blood of every Rajasthani. That's where the entrepreneurs. You go to a small town in Ahmednagar district and you will find the local banya came from Rajasthan some 100 years ago. So entrepreneurship is in the blood of this state. But they have something else. They have something else which I realized, that with the help of education, as you know that Jodhpur produces more chartered accountants than any other city in the country. Similarly, Kota produces more aspirants into IIT than any other place in the country. So a lot of successful leaders, and not necessarily promoters, managers like me, came from this part of the state, and they are all wanting to give back. I have, at this moment of time, 1,000 people who have retired from various companies who want to work in Rajasthan to mentor young people. I already have a list of 1,000 people. They are people from this state, they want to give back to the state. See, today there is no dearth of capital. You have seen, as I walked in, I first saw a bank. As you know, the government's licenses of small bank specifies that 50% of their lending has to be below 50 lakhs. So all the policies, the RICO has a venture capital fund. We are going to start an impact fund which will support young entrepreneurs. Capital is not a relation, is a problem. Market is not a problem. I think what you need is the right way to start up. I am not against e-business, but please don't think e-business is the only startup that you can do. Personally, I am not going to support e-business because e-business does not create jobs, and my objective is to create jobs. I am going to support companies which are what you call brick and mortar model. And my basis of selection of mentees will be based on the maximum number of jobs that they will create. There are 3 or 4 pieces of advice that I want to give you. One is, think through everything before you get off the ground. Because once you are married to a particular product or design or this thing, it becomes difficult to change. Please invest that extra time to select the right product, the right process, test it, and test it not only from a product point of view, but from a customer point of view. Because ultimately, you're not making a product for yourself, you're making a product for your customer. So please take it to potential customers and understand and learn from them. Second is, have patience. Rome was not built in a day. Third is, think big. Don't be satisfied with, if you make enough money to run your household. There is huge opportunity. I am personally very delighted to be here, and I want to thank Honorable Chief Minister and Mrs. Gupta for giving me this opportunity, because for some of the things that I met a young lady who was in the food business, and I told her as joke, I said, I want a Guru Dakshina for this, and she said, Kya sir? So maine kaha, when you write your autobiography like Indira Nooyi, or somewhere put there that you met somebody like Arun. And these are the type of kids. Indira Nooyi was also born in a small village in Tamil Nadu. I was born from, my mother was 2 months pregnant when partition took place, and I was born as a refugee home. Sky is the limit for people who have the right desire, right thinking, and passion. You cannot succeed as a mentor unless you have passion, but discipline yourself. Sometimes we get carried away with success. The day you get carried away with success, Gita says, Ahankar is the biggest killer. Stay grounded, think big, but be rooted to the ground and keep the customer in mind, and all of you will succeed. And not only will that girl write her autobiography, I'm sure many of you in this room will write your autobiography, which will sell a few 100,000 copies. Thank you.